Hey, welcome to World Mind Hub. Please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon for more updates. June 17, 2025. The world wakes up to breaking news from the South China Sea, a region already simmering with tension, now pushed to the brink. In the early morning hours, a Chinese Coast Guard vessel collides with a Philippine supply ship near the contested Second Thomas Shoal. The impact is more than physical, it's a jolt to the fragile peace in these waters. Water cannons are unleashed, drenching decks and escalating the standoff. Tensions, long simmering beneath the surface, now explode into open confrontation. The South China Sea isn't just a map dispute, it's the world's maritime superhighway. Every year, trillions of dollars worth of goods, oil, electronics, food, move through these crowded shipping lanes, carrying a third of global trade to every corner of the planet. Any disruption here sends shockwaves through the global economy. Stock markets tremble, supply chains falter, and the price of everyday goods can spike overnight. The world's prosperity is tied to the calm of these waters. But it's not just about trade. Beneath these waves lie vast reserves of oil and gas, untapped resources that could power cities and industries for generations. These riches fuel the ambitions of China, Vietnam, and the Philippines, each determined to claim their share. For these nations, control over the sea means more than territory. It means economic security, energy independence, and a stronger hand in shaping their future. The stakes are existential. The South China Sea is also a strategic chessboard. For China, it's about projecting power, asserting sovereignty, and pushing back against foreign influence. For the United States, it's about keeping vital sea lanes open, supporting allies, and maintaining its own influence in the Asia-Pacific. Every naval patrol, every diplomatic maneuver is a high-stakes gamble. Behind closed doors, military commanders and diplomats weigh their options, knowing that a single miscalculation could trigger a wider conflict. Here, the interests of the world's two superpowers collide. The South China Sea has become one of the planet's most dangerous flashpoints, where the risk of miscalculation is ever present. The latest clash at Second Thomas Shoal is just one in a series of escalating confrontations. Each incident adds fuel to a fire that's already burning hot. With every new standoff, the region inches closer to open conflict. The consequences would ripple far beyond Asia, threatening global stability and prosperity. The world watches, holding its breath, hoping for diplomacy to prevail. But the clock is ticking, and the window for peaceful resolution is narrowing. In these contested waters, the line between peace and war is razor thin. One wrong move, one misunderstood signal could tip the balance. The stakes? Nothing less than the future of the global order. What happens next in the South China Sea will shape the world for years to come. At the heart of the conflict is China's sweeping 9-dash line, claiming nearly 90% of the South China Sea. This claim clashes with the exclusive economic zones of the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Brunei. China has built militarized artificial islands, transforming reefs into strategic outposts. Its Coast Guard, often called a Second Navy, patrols aggressively, using water cannons and ramming tactics to intimidate rivals. These gray zone tactics push other claimants out, without triggering outright war. In 2016, an international tribunal ruled China's claims had no legal basis. Beijing rejected the verdict. The world sees China's defiance as a direct challenge to international law. The South China Sea has become a cauldron of rivalry, where history, law, and power collide. Every move here is a test of the global order. The Philippines, under President Marcos Jr., has taken a bold and unprecedented stand against Chinese coercion in the South China Sea. Determined to defend its sovereignty, the government has shifted from quiet diplomacy to a more assertive and transparent approach, signaling to both its citizens and the world that it will not be intimidated. Manila now publicizes every encounter at sea, releasing dramatic videos of water cannon attacks, near collisions, and harassment by Chinese vessels. These images, broadcast globally, have drawn international attention to the tense standoffs and the daily risks faced by Filipino sailors and Coast Guard crews. At the heart of the standoff is the BRP Sierra Madre, a World War II-era ship deliberately grounded at Second Thomas Shoal. This rusting vessel, manned by a small group of Philippine Marines, serves as a lonely but steadfast outpost, symbolizing Manila's determination to hold its ground in the disputed waters. China calls it an illegal occupation and has stepped up efforts to blockade resupply missions, often using intimidating tactics to prevent food, water, and other essentials from reaching the Marines stationed there. The Philippines leans heavily on the 2016 Hague Tribunal ruling, which invalidated China's sweeping claims and affirmed Manila's rights under international law. This legal victory is a cornerstone of the Philippines' diplomatic strategy. By framing the dispute as a defense of international law and the rules-based order, the Philippines has rallied support from democracies worldwide. Western allies, regional partners, and even distant nations have voiced concern over China's actions. Realizing it cannot face China's might alone, Manila has worked tirelessly to build coalitions, strengthening old alliances, signing new defense agreements, and conducting joint military exercises to demonstrate unity and resolve. The strategy is clear: internationalize the dispute, raise the diplomatic and economic cost of Chinese aggression, and ensure the Philippines is never isolated on the world stage. It's a diplomatic offensive, one that transforms a small nation's struggle into a global cause, making the South China Sea a test case for the future of international law and regional stability. Every confrontation is a test of resolve, not just for the Philippines, but for the international community. The world is watching, and the stakes could not be higher. The U.S.-Philippines alliance is the bedrock of Manila's defense. The Mutual Defense Treaty means an attack on Philippine forces in the South China Sea could trigger U.S. intervention. Recent years have seen expanded U.S. access to Philippine bases and larger joint military exercises. This sends a clear message: the U.S. stands ready to defend its ally, but Manila knows it can't rely on Washington alone. Diversifying partnerships makes the Philippines more resilient and less vulnerable to shifting U.S. politics. The U.S. encourages this, seeing a networked Indo-Pacific as the best way to counterbalance China. Together, they aim to uphold a free and open regional order. Across Asia, Pakistan and China share an all-weather friendship, deep, strategic, and built on shared interests. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC, is the crown jewel, linking China's west to Pakistan's Gwadar port. For Pakistan, CPEC promises economic transformation. For China, it's a shortcut to the Indian Ocean and a strategic naval foothold. This partnership gives Pakistan economic lifelines and military support. In return, Pakistan aligns its foreign policy closely with Beijing's interests. Any move against China's core interests, like the South China Sea, could jeopardize this vital relationship. For Islamabad, the cost of crossing Beijing is simply too high. The Philippines is building a web of new partnerships to balance China's power. Japan has become a key ally, providing patrol vessels and deepening defense ties. Australia now conducts joint patrols and intelligence sharing with Manila. India and European powers are also stepping up, offering naval cooperation and diplomatic support. This minilateral approach gives the Philippines flexibility and strength in numbers. By weaving together these relationships, Manila ensures it's never alone. Any aggression against the Philippines now risks a united international response. The message to Beijing: the world is watching. Pakistan and the Philippines have cordial but limited ties, no deep economic, cultural, or security links. Trade is modest, mostly agricultural goods and textiles. Security cooperation is virtually non-existent. Their militaries focus on different regions and threats. Diplomatic relations are functional, with embassies in each other's capitals. There are no major disputes or grievances, just a relationship of untapped potential. Both countries operate in separate strategic spheres, Pakistan with China, the Philippines with the US and its allies. This distance means there's little momentum for a deeper partnership, but with no barriers, the door remains open, should strategic interests ever align. For now, it's a quiet, uncomplicated friendship. If a China-Philippines crisis erupts, Pakistan's safest bet is strict neutrality. Siding with China risks alienating ASEAN, the US, and Western partners, vital for Pakistan's economy. Neutrality lets Islamabad keep Chinese investment flowing while avoiding diplomatic fallout. But Beijing may expect at least vocal support, putting Pakistan in a bind. Too much neutrality could anger China. Too much support could isolate Pakistan globally. It's a delicate balancing act, one that demands diplomatic finesse. In a polarized world, even silence can be risky. Pakistan must walk a tightrope, defending its interests without losing friends. Could Pakistan ever back the Philippines against China? At first glance, the idea seems almost absurd. A scenario that defies decades of established alliances and regional expectations. Pakistan and China have long been described as iron brothers, their partnership forged through shared interests and mutual support. The Philippines, meanwhile, stands on the opposite side of the South China Sea dispute, often backed by the United States and its allies. It's almost unthinkable, but not impossible. In the unpredictable world of geopolitics, even the most unlikely moves can become reality under the right pressures and incentives. Such a dramatic pivot would send shockwaves through the region, signaling a bold assertion of independence from Beijing. It would also open new doors to the US and its network of allies, potentially reshaping Pakistan's diplomatic landscape and giving it leverage it has never had before. The rewards could be significant. Pakistan might see a boost in its global standing, new economic partnerships, and increased foreign investment from the West. It could also gain a stronger voice in international forums, and perhaps even secure much-needed support for its own development goals. But the cost would be catastrophic. Lost Chinese investment, a stalled or abandoned CPEC, and the risk of strategic isolation in a region where China's influence is growing. Decades of trust and cooperation could unravel overnight. China would see such a move as a deep betrayal. The economic fallout could be severe, with Pakistan's security and economy both taking a heavy hit. The loss of Chinese support would leave Pakistan vulnerable, both financially and strategically. For now, the risks far outweigh the rewards. The price of pivoting away from China is simply too high for Pakistan to seriously consider, at least in the current climate. Yet geopolitics is never static. Interests shift, alliances evolve, and today's impossibility can become tomorrow's reality. History is full of unexpected turns, and nations often act out of necessity rather than loyalty. Today, a Pakistani pivot to the Philippines is little more than a fantasy, a thought experiment for strategists and analysts. But tomorrow, the world may surprise us. New crises, shifting alliances, or unforeseen opportunities could change the calculus overnight. In the end, the South China Sea is more than just a regional dispute. It's a crucible for testing alliances, strategies, and the very future of Asia's balance of power. The choices made here will echo far beyond these contested waters, shaping the destinies of nations for generations to come.